Darren Moore is no more. Darren Moore has been sacked from Huddersfield Town, and we are here to review it all with Mark, our regular Huddersfield fan. How are you, Mark?
Not too bad. Not surprised by the news at all, to be fair.
Catch you in a second. And we are delighted to have a guest with us on this very special Huddersfield View. We're joined by Aidan Lightowlers, the fourth favourite cricket casual podcast and sports content creator on Twitter. Good evening, Aidan.
Good evening.
All right, this has come. There have been some Twitter comments from neutrals saying, "Oh, I'm surprised." Anyone who is surprised by this news has not been watching Huddersfield Town, have they? In the last 3 months, Mark.
No, I finally nailed it coffin yesterday when you finally take the lead against an opponent around you in the league, and you should expect to win it. And we've been on about this for ages, and it's about his tactics. And his tactics were just when you watch the goal back. I watched it back about half an hour ago, just so I know I'm right and what I'm going to say is like, why didn't you bring on your centre backs? You sat there going, you've just scored, and QPR literally seconds later brought on two strikers, just went right off for it. And it's okay playing the 3-5-2 formation what it wants, but it's got to work with the right people in the right areas if you're going to do that. And the fact that he then makes a centre-back substitution after the goal when the other centre-back's injured just shows you the complete ineptability of his tactics. And literally from the first time I came on this podcast against Cardiff, I said, it's tactics. It's always his tactics. And Nagel didn't help himself. He came out and went, yeah, he's asked for a long-term plan. And because he used those words, long-term plan, he then had to kind of back himself by saying, no, it'll come good. I'll back him at window. I'll do this, that, and other. So ultimately, everything everybody said before you got Darren Moore when we announced it back in September was just like, his tactics are terrible. It's not going to suit you right. And that's come to haunt him, really.
Yeah. Aidan, what would you have done in that moment? You've just gone 1-0 up at QPR with 3 minutes of normal time to go plus injury time. There's many people saying just bring on Pearson or someone. Would you concur with what Mark said and what the general Twitterati are saying?
Yeah, I mean, ironically, the only time that Town fans probably wanted him to play defensively, he bloody didn't. So there you go. But I generally don't think he's been put in the position first place. We should never have got rid of Warnock. And this kind of, idea that we'd have to go and watch nice football. Warnock was getting results, parking the bus, having 20% possession. But that miracle season, like all the fan base was buzzing, we're all connected. We were playing, really crap football today's standard. But it's a results business. I can give a monkeys if we're passing out from the back and doing all that. But game I went up to watch, I went to go and watch Plymouth, and like you were saying, it's tactics. He's just inept. We were all over Plymouth, and he still continued with the back five. Had Hoggy passing it backwards sideways. You were brought in to play attacking football, to go and play it. I know people kind of say, injuries and whatever, but there's a culture and a mentality that a manager can instill. And he didn't really have any charisma off the pitch. He didn't really know what he's doing. The players don't look like they know what they're doing. So, I mean, to be fair, I actually thought QPR was probably his best performance attacking-wise. And I thought the players looked all right, to be honest. So, I feel for him slightly because he should never have got the job, really. And I generally think he wasn't first choice. I think Warnock had a falling out with Nagel. They panicked and thought he's the first one available. Because really, if we wanted him, we would have got him last summer when he was available. And he could have had a transfer window to kind of work with the players and see what needed to be done. So, yeah, there you go.
Mark, you're not going to miss his interviews, are you? Both pre-match and post-match. You've commented on that many times.
Do you know what?
On this channel.
I have not watched any of them. And it's about being infused by the manager. And I've said this a few times. It's about Warnock could be like, yeah, it's football shit, but it's a great bunch of lads. So let's have a crack on. And it just go on a tangent about Plymouth or Cornwall or somewhere. And at least he had something. David Wagner had charisma. Bloody Carlos Corbrand, you couldn't understand him because he'd just jabber, but he had something. And you going back to the Premier League years and slightly before the Premier League years when we had David Wagner and stuff like that, they're all about team togetherness. It's not the size of a dog in the fight, it's about the fight in the dog and all this kind of stuff. And I just feel like the fight in the players disappeared. It would be really interesting to see how many people or players for Town are not injured at weekend and whether psychological injuries, because it's just like, you know what, I can't play under that system. You know, Sorba Thomas is running 12k a game and stuff like that. It's like, hold up, he's just meant to be a right winger. He's just meant to be crossing balls in. He's not a right wing back. And then Alfie said to me, my son, he said, what do we do now? Now we scored. Do we defend or do we attack? I'm like, as soon as you sit back, we're going to concede. Because you're playing a 5-3-2 or 3-5-2, and you're playing with the wrong players to play in that kind of formation. If you're bringing on central defenders or you're bringing on strong midfielders, that's the perfect game where you just start with Kasumu and you bring Johnny Ogg on. The other way around, you know, and everyone start there going, that's all right, but I just swapped Kasumu for Oggy before. And it's just those little things where it's like, and I said it against last week against Blackburn, Oggy didn't need to be playing that game. He didn't need to be playing against Plymouth. You needed fast breaking up play kind of players, not Jonathan Ogg who's going to knob it back 40 yards to keeper. And I think if you're in a defensive mindset, and I've said this before, if Darren Moore's coming in and saying, right, guys, we're not going to lose game, Ogg is going to lob it back 40 yards to keeper. He's not going to want to try and take the ball. And when you're so poor at keeping hold of the ball as we were and just relinquishing ball to whoever wanted it, actually, you learn to be fighting football rather than actually controlling it and doing stuff with it. And that's probably where most of the injuries have come from. My son is a right little stats geek and it's brilliant. I love it. Worked out that Town have taken the lead 5 times under Darren Moore and drawn 8 of those games. And then he said, when we scored, we dropped 16% possession.
Yeah.
So as soon as we scored, yeah. And it's just those things. It's just like, come on, Darren. If you play that formation, keep them up top. Like QPR have 4 players at back. Let them keep their formation rather than just letting them stick 2 strikers up front and then, oh, we're dropping back, actually. So I'm not surprised he's gone, but you know, I feel sorry for him. Obviously, mitigate circumstances, but you still play to your strongest teams, you still play to your strongest positions, and you don't just say, oh, you're left-footed, you're going to play it right back. You can't just... If I signed for a team and said, what's your strongest foot? And I went, I'm right-footed, play at right wing. Why on earth would he think I'm any better at left back? And that's the tactics. Anyway, sorry, I'm just wearing.
That's all right. We love you on your soapbox. Aidan Darren Moore becomes the 4th Huddersfield manager to be sacked in 16 months after Schofield, Mark Fotheringham, and of course Warnock. And the comments from the club today were interesting because he was kind of saying, well, we want somebody for the short term, obviously, but we also want that same person to be the longer term project of playing attractive football, which you read between the lines basically says Warnock's not coming back. Is that the way? Is that the way you read it?
I mean, I think it's you'd hope the club have kind of at least got 4 or 5 names that they were thinking about because the writing was on the wall pretty much since it was appointed. To be honest, I've never been Darren Moore in. I hated the appointment. We should never have got rid of Warnock, and I really hope Kevin likes begging. Get him down to Cornwall, wherever Warnock lives, and just grovel and ask him back because he's the only man that can probably save us. And it's the exact same position we were in a year ago when we need. It's around this time, I think, Warnock came in with same amount of games. Probably one of the best kind of spells at Huddersfield. Absolute miracle. The teams we played, he's going to be laughing. He's going to be laughing at us. We should never have got rid of him. I think this appointment for Kevin Nagles is crucial. Like, he's got to think long term. But we're spending big money for Huddersfield on strikers. 2 million on Healy, I think.
Yeah.
1 million on Bojan. Why wouldn't you spend 3-4 million on a Steve Cooper who came into Forest when they were bottom, weren't they? When he came into Forest and he took them up. So why don't you go and? He's ambitious, Kevin. I'll give him that. I really like him. I've had a couple of chats with him on Twitter just privately and said my piece to him and whatever. We don't agree on certain things, but he's a good bloke, and I genuinely think he'll do well for Huddersfield. He's an ambitious man. Sell the project to someone like Cooper, or I mean, we'd all love Wagner to come back, or Corberan. We should have backed Corberan when he was here, but we didn't. And that's where we've fallen down. We've probably backed the wrong horse in Darren Moore. We never have brought him in. And really, I've put several tweets out, and people don't like it. But I generally think if we've had Warnock in, giving him this back in the January transfer window that we've given more, Huddersfield would be a top 10 side with Neil Warnock in charge, 100%.
Let's have a look then, shall we, at the runners and riders. This is the latest odds for the next Huddersfield manager. Mark, talk us through the first two there. Paul Heckingbottom and Michael Duff leading the way. Would you be excited by either of those two?
To be honest, I've kind of come out publicly now and said I'd go for Paul Heckingbottom because he sounds Yorkshire. It sounds very good. But actually, his tenure at Sheffield United, he's been really good, hasn't he, to be fair? You know, he knows how to get a team up, whether he's motivated or not. Actually, even if he's only in for one game to play against Sheffield Wednesday at the weekend, being the next Sheffield United manager, brilliant. Michael Duff, I don't know much about him, to be honest. I've seen others about that. You can scrub Frank Lampard off and Wayne Rooney. They're just journey boys, and it become Wayne Rooney's Huddersfield Town or Frank Lampard's Huddersfield Town, or he's a bit of a crybaby for me. But Nathan Jones, actually, he does do good stuff with the teams he plays at. But actually, I don't think fans will get behind him. I think we've had too much history with him.
All right, Aidan
talks to legend, but there we are.
All right, yeah. Aidan, talk us to the rest of the list there then for us.
Well, I've seen a lot of people want Eustace, but I genuinely think someone in who's got a proven track record. I think you've mentioned all those names that we've sacked. We have gone down this road of, right, Wagner was decent and he was kind of unproven. We'll just keep doing that. We did it with Sievert, we did it with Fotheringham, Schofield, we did it. It doesn't always work. More often than not, it doesn't. So what do you have, like 6 months at Birmingham? Not really done a lot before that. Obviously, Warnock's my first choice, but I'm living in bloody dreamland if he's coming back. Alex Neil's an interesting one. Like, he did all right at Norwich, didn't he? And not so great at Stoke. I think Nathan Jones is a weird one that he's done well, but again, like we said, you know, the fans I don't think are going to take to him. I think it was between him and Moore, wasn't it, when Warnock went initially and Darren Moore went out. The Rooney Lampard chat, I think that would be a very similar to Darren Moore. That's a manager for League One. I think if we then went down, I think Darren Moore would probably actually take us back up from League One. Rooney and Lampard would do the same because we'd be one of the stronger sides in a very competitive League One. But yeah, like I said, I think we've got to be ambitious. Heckingbottom's probably the most likely who's going to come in. I think he's doing an all right job. I would have liked Tony Mowbray when he got sacked, and we should have pulled the plug on Moore then. Really, I think we've kind of sat on this. The timings. Whoever's advising Nagel, I think it's Jake Edwards, isn't it, CEO? Yeah. If this doesn't work out, he's gone. He's got to go because it's just embarrassing that he's advised Darren Moore to come in over Warnock, who's one of the most elite managers, and if he fails again, he's got to go because I don't think Kevin Nagles really. Yes, he's making the ultimate decision, but he's being advised, and he's getting some very bloody poor advice.
Just on the QPR performance, just quickly before we let you go, you played really well, I thought. I I saw the first half and then I watched the highlights later on. From a neutral's point of view, that looked a really good performance. Had you won that game, do you think we'd be sat here talking now like we are?
No, I think if we'd have won that game, I think Kevin actually came out with a tweet and fair play for an owner coming out and being so transparent. I think he said it's got to be win, hasn't it? Or he definitely wasn't happy with the 2 draws against Plymouth and Blackburn. Like these 4 games are crucial. But I mean, I've put a tweet out myself and watched the game on Sky on Sunday yesterday, and actually thought the players looked like they were playing, like actually trying hard. Like Sorba Thomas, to be fair to him, has come on a lot from that spell under Fod, where he just didn't want to be at the club, and he now looks like one of our top players in terms of actually working hard. Yes, maybe the skill isn't there, but I generally think the tactics have been wrong. And that, like we said, didn't set up defensively when we went 1-0 up and we needed a win. He knew it was a must-win game. Surely, as you're meant to be an experienced manager, really, in terms of that's why we brought him in. Like, I think even the most simple and basic football fan knows that. All right, go defensive the last 5 minutes of the game. Yeah, I think he did bury himself, and Kevin's comments probably didn't help. Really weirdly, I generally think it was one of the best performances under Darren Moore, and I feel slightly sorry for him that he's gone, but that's what happens, I'm afraid.
All right, let's get some predictions then for the massive game this weekend. Mark, you can go first. Huddersfield against Wednesday. Oh, don't say 1-1. Banning anyone. 8-1-1.
I got Blackburn right, didn't I?
You did.
I think it'll all be down to the players taking on what John Worthington says this week. So just a bit of background: John Worthington, who's coming in as the standing manager or whatever. John Worthington was the captain of Huddersfield Town maybe 15, 20 years ago, and he's been the physio there, and he's like the B team manager and stuff like that. So if there's anybody who knows what Yorkshire Derby means, it's John Worthington. Like I say, it'd be interesting to see if any of the injured players come back. Whether that's psychological or whether they're actually injured, it'd be nice to see. But I'm going for a home win. The players have got to bounce. The fans, I've never seen any fans go, thank God he's gone, as much as maybe Fotheringham last year, but he just talked himself out of it. He was just useless anyway. But I've never seen anybody on Twitter, fans go, just didn't work, did it? And even Nagles come out today and actually said, it was something we gambled on. It's not gone the way we wanted. Hold my hands up. Darren Moore's got a nice payoff. It'll be all right. But I think we can go for it because new manager bounds, Sheffield Wednesday at home, they'll bring loads of fans. It'll be a good atmosphere. But I did say it'd be toxic if Darren Moore's still there, even if we drew. So I'm hoping I'm going to be there. I'm hoping for a home win, just purely the new manager bounce. And if John Worthington's in there, we won't be pulling any punches. He'll be saying, right, come on, guys, let's do this for us fans.
All right. Aidan, it was 0-0 at Hillsborough, turgid affair. Got to be better, hasn't it?
Oh, I don't know. Poor fans that anyone who tuned into Sky on Sunday, bloody hell, yeah, God forbid. But no, I've had a message off a Wednesday fan today, and he was like, "Oh, if Moore's there, it's 100% going to be a 1-1 draw." I was like, "Yeah, definitely." And he's actually said, "Now we've got rid of Moore, he's worried, so I reckon it's going to be 1-0 Town. Players have got something to prove. Yeah, fans are going to be behind them, so." We're not massive goal scorers, but we're definitely winning, and I'm going a scummy 1-0.
Brilliant.
All right, cheers for joining us. Just before we go, Aidan, obviously talk us through your Twitter content. What can people, where can people follow you? What can they look forward to?
Yes, so my main stuff is cricket content. So I'm part of the Cricket Casuals, and my handle's at alights98. I do a lot on TikTok, and I work with a couple of cricket brands and cricket creators. I'm actually taking charge of the Content Creators Cup, Cricket, which is happening in May. So if you want to go and look at that, it's at Cricket Casuals. And then the Twitter is a mix of cricket and ranting about Huddersfield Town. So if you want to follow, there's all that crap on there. So
Right. We'll put it in the comments below, folks, if you want to follow Aidan or Mark on Twitter, because they're going to have a lot to say over the next month, I'm pretty sure. Listen, folks, thanks for joining us. Mark, he's gone, finally. I feel like a virtual high five is needed, given the ranting you've done over the last 3 months. But
well, you know, it's been fair ranting, and I hadn't said Darren Moore in, I hadn't said Darren Moore out. I've just picked up on where the inevitability's been, and my tweet today when I saw it dinner time, like, it's unfortunate, but I'm not shocked. So that's where it is. But I like the fact that Nagles going on with 3-year plan. He's still trying to go with that plan. So from a Town fan point of view, it's like actually still got a plan in motion. He's still wanting to do something, but Darren Moore was never right from the start. That's just unfortunate. That's football, isn't it? So,
on that, we shall leave it. Thank you both. We'll catch you next week, where you can tell us all about the Yorkshire Derby. Enjoy it this weekend. Thanks, folks.
Cheers. Thank you.